The guys behind the From Corner to Corner podcast are diving deep into Montgomery County High School sports with the Community Trust Bank Coaches Corner. Join us as we talk local high school athletics with your local coaches. Whether you're a student athlete or a screaming fan, this is the place to turn to get the inside scoop before the next big game. And now it's time for the show with Sean Kiper, Neil Payne, Adam Muncy, and Wes Crouch.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another live edition of the From Corner to Corner Coaches Corner from the Community Trust Bank Studios. Thanks for joining us live on Facebook and YouTube. Before we get started, I would like to take a moment to thank our sponsors, Community Trust Bank, Kimsoft, 22 Sweet Treats, CRC Renovations, Kentucky Realty Group, Southern Sweeties, Jacobs Auto Body, and Brett Weehunt's Kentucky Farm Bureau in Frenchburg, the sponsor of our Athlete of the Month in Menifee County. While you're watching, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe button. And while you're at it, go ahead and share this out to your friends so they can see this as well. Tonight joining us is Scott Allen, Montgomery County archery coach. And he brought with him all kinds of archers with him here. So I'm going to read these off. We got Curtis Bailey, who's a junior. He is the team captain. Mason Stamper, 7th grader. Oliver Smith, 8th grader. We've got Hailey Anderson, who's a freshman. Haley Smith, who's a freshman. Chloe Smith, who's an 8th grader, and Kaley Smith, who is an 8th grader. Thanks, everybody, for showing up.
Well, welcome, guys. So let's just jump right in. Coach, why don't you tell us about your season so far?
Well, we've done really well this season. Out of all the tournaments that we've been to, we've at least placed first, second, or third. These guys started earlier this year, which really helped us out. They gave us the facilities to do some practices that were voluntary at the beginning. So a lot of the younger kids have got more practice in than normal. It's really moved us along from where we was in the past. So these guys here have been probably one of the best teams we've had. I mean, honestly, I can't praise them enough. They come to practice twice a week. They're always at the line ready to shoot. What do you guys think? How do you think the seasons went so far?
I think we've had a really productive year. So out of all the years that we've shot and stuff like that, I think this has been one of our most strongest.
Nice. Well, so my daughters shoot elementary at North Middletown.
Yes.
And I went to my first ever meet. Is that what are they called meets?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. I didn't know there was that much involved. The different whistles and I was like, of course it was in Bourbon County. So Coach Sid, and like, it was right. And like, be at the line. If you're over, like, I was like, holy Toledo, I didn't realize all this stuff was involved. So it's a lot more involved than I ever imagined. Now, it wasn't a sport whenever we were in school. So what is your background in archery?
So like most people, I'm an outdoors person. I'm not exactly athletic. So most of my hobbies include being outside. I've hunted and fished a lot. From my dad kept me out, right. Doing all that stuff. So that's where my knowledge started at. Mm-hmm. And one of the assistant coaches, Chad Jones, really got me into it. He's went through a lot of archery training, kind of drug me along. It started off, we did Cub Scouts together. We were leaders in that. He's like, hey, come on over to archery. So, he kind of drug me in and just really enjoy it. I mean, it takes some time, as the kids can tell you. We practice a lot, and there's a lot of Saturdays that we commit to. Yeah. But that's really where it all stemmed from with me, was the love for being outdoors
Right.
and shooting and stuff. So some of the other kids, don't get to experience that.
Right.
So, we bring them in. They see some of their friends doing it. Maybe their parents don't like that type of thing as far as hunting and being outdoors, but that's how I got in. I think Curtis, he kind of the same way. Him and his dad's out a lot, hunting and being outdoors as well. So that really gets most of us started.
Right.
So you was talking about your daughter was, in elementary school.
Yeah.
We've had some talks about doing that here.
Uh-huh.
I'm working with some of the elementary schools to try to get that started. I don't know how quick that'll happen.
Right.
You do notice like a Bourbon County, Harrison County, the ones that start off in 4th grade and go all the way up to high school.
Yeah.
Those high school kids are hard to contend with,
Well, and one of the biggest things I noticed was, of course, that they shot on Friday night. It was the elementary shoot on, but they had almost every kid paired up with a high school kid, and they were going and helping them count and score, and like you could tell that, like you said, now the older kids are investing back in the youth, and I mean that means a lot. I know my daughters talked about last week or 2 weeks ago that the high school team has been practicing sometimes at North Middletown, and of course they'll challenge them, and usually the elementary kids will win, right? And they bring them candy, but they think that's the biggest thing. But I mean, Coach Sid, you could tell like he has it going over there in Bourbon County.
He is a great coach. His daughter is an excellent archer.
Yeah.
I do 4-H as well. She's awesome shot with anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it does not have to be archery equipment. I don't know what he's feeding that girl, but I don't want to shoot against her. But anyway,
but you said you may look into getting into elementary school, and moving maybe into elementary school. I mean, it looks like the archery team has grown exponentially in the last 2-3 years.
I mean, what do you think, Curtis? You've been in it the longest with us. I mean, probably 30 more kids this year than we had before.
So when I first started shooting, we was shooting with like 5 targets.
Yeah.
Now we filled the barn from one end to the other.
Yeah.
We've had all kinds of people having to come in, shoot together and all that stuff because it's grown like crazy.
That's awesome.
So it's been a big growth.
Well, that's one of the sports that, like you said, not everybody can play basketball. Not everybody's a baseball player. Not everybody wants to play football. But with the addition of the esports, with bowling, archery, bass fishing, there's something out there for every kid to get involved in if they want to. One of the things I was most blown away by is they were talking about the Saturday shoot. Were you all there on that Saturday?
At Bourbon?
At Bourbon?
No, we missed that.
Okay, it was I think it was January 12th. They were talking like they're going to be there like 14, 15 hours. And like, so you all put a lot of time in, and I don't think people realize just how much time goes in. I mean, because you said you practice twice a week.
Yep.
But most of you all probably have to practice some on your own, go out and do your own thing. So why don't you all talk about that a little bit, what you have to do outside of practice to make sure you're prepared for the next meet?
So the thing you always got to make sure is that you're mentally and physically prepared. So you got to make sure that your equipment's, everything's figured out. You got to make sure that you mentally are ready for your next shoot, because shoots and practices are completely different.
I'm sure.
It's a lot more nerve-wracking.
I'm sure.
So even if you got to practice outside of those 2 days a week or something like that to make sure that you're ready, you got to do what you got to do for the next meet to make sure that you come out and bring out the scores.
Right.
So a little bit more on the technical side. Does everyone shoot with the same type bow? So it's just basically up to your ability to shoot the same type bow as everybody else is shooting.
In NASP, it's required.
Gotcha.
1 arrow, 1 bow. The only thing that you can change is the color of the arrows and the fletching colors. The fletchings, I mean, we have to look at the arrows at the competitions to make sure that somebody's not trying to, and for the most part that don't happen, but we do check. No sights, bare bow. The only thing you really can do is put a Some kids like a strap around their wrist to keep in case they feel like they're going to drop the bow. That's it. There's not much you can add to it or take away from it other than the poundage.
Yeah.
So this Genesis bow, the fourth graders are shooting the same bow that a 12th grader shooting.
They are.
Okay.
As well as the same arrows.
Mhm.
Now, the flight's different. I mean, you'll see some of the younger ones are, once you get back to 15 meters, which is the furthest way that we shoot, you'll see the elementary school kids arching their arrows versus, a straight shot with some of the older kids. But everything is the same.
Right.
So do you all shoot furthest away? Does everyone shoot furthest away in here? Or do
I
you
believe you shoot 10 and then 15,
10 and
correct?
So
15.
you shoot both.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And everybody shoots the same distances. Yeah, there's no altered distances or anything like that. We all shoot the same.
And
Gotcha.
I tell you, it's one of those that you don't realize how far 10 meters is or 15 until you see them line up and you're like, wow, like that's a heck of a shot. Like 15 meters is a pretty good shot.
Keep in mind you're aiming with the string and the
Right.
and the arrow. There's nothing there to aim with.
Yeah.
I mean, I can shoot all day with a hunting bow with
Right.
sights on it.
Yeah.
But I don't want to shoot against these kids with their equipment.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it's fun with the little ones to get them in there. The elementary school are trash talkers. I mean, it's fun to get them going. As a coach to say, hey, this kid says they're going to beat you.
Right.
They're half your height. I mean, you can't,
Right.
can't let that happen. But
Right.
it's fun. The different age groups together, I really like. And going back to may not be athletic. I mean, if you can pull that string
Yeah.
back, you can shoot. All the different competitions. There's been kids in wheelchairs shooting. We had a girl that pulled it back with her teeth. There's been kids with one arm. There's been autistic kids that their parent has to go up with them to give them one arrow at a time,
Yep.
and it works out. So if you can get there and pull that string back, you can shoot in archery.
Right.
And
So okay, so here's the ignorance of that I'm just like, what the world? Is it just you're trying to hit the middle of the target every time? Is it like darts where
You get points.
sometimes you're trying to get certain spots on the target or whatnot? Fill me in.
He's like, why are you calling
Is
me?
points? I mean, is the most points just
300.
right down the middle?
300 is
Like
So
in bowling.
you're trying to bullseye every time.
Yep.
Okay.
So for example, it was North Middletown's first ever shoot, and they were excited. They got 6 bullseyes, and my daughter was excited until she came home and she was like, "But the team that won got 66 bullseyes."
Oh, no.
It's like they've been shooting a long time.
Yeah.
But so it's 300. Obviously, the objective is if you can put all 5 of them in the center target, you want to put all 5 in the center target.
So it's a 10 ring target. You bullseye is 10 all the way out to 1. Anything outside of the 1 ring is a 0. So yeah, you shoot 5 practice rounds at 10, and then 3 rounds of 5 each, and then you'll go back to 15 meters and do the same thing. You get 5 practice shots, and then because honestly, every gym that you shoot in is a little bit different. I mean, if the lighting's different, it can throw off where your aim point. You may aim in the center of the target at the barn and aim 2 inches over to the left or the right, with the lighting difference. So that's why they tend to give those kids a practice round each place they go, just to kind of dial it in because it does change.
Right. So you were talking earlier about, you have to make sure that you are getting everything lined up and you have to put in work afterwards and all the stuff. Archery it's very much a mental sport because if you see you think you have everything lined up and it fires and you're in the white, like you're like, holy crap, what do I have to do to fix it? So how much of a mental aspect has archery been that you all have had to overcome?
I think it's been more of a mental game than it has a physical game.
Yeah.
Because if you're not mentally there and you're not mentally focused on what you're doing and following through all the way through, you're not going to have the shot that you want to.
Right.
It's not something that you can just go out there and do and not think about it. you have to think about every single shot that you let go of.
Right. Would you all agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What my dad says is that it's not about like how you do. It's like a head game.
Yeah.
Is what he says it is.
Well, and I mean, it's really like you're competing against yourself. You try to make each shot better than the previous shot, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, what's your all's highest round that you've scored?
So the highest round that I've shot in competition is a 288 out of 300.
Wow. Okay. That's pretty good. I mean, 12. That's
I mean, right now Curtis is flirting with the school record,
And what is the school record?
292.
And who holds that?
Rebecca Jones.
Okay.
She is a senior this year.
Mhm.
She is in what's the MSU thing?
Craft Academy.
Craft Academy. So,
Okay.
so now she didn't get to practice as much this year. But she's right there. And who was the boy that got
Jay Hughes.
Jay
has them
Hughes.
VINs right
Both
there.
of them scored 292.
292. Oh, so I mean, you're only four shots off the 4 points, I guess, off
Listen,
the.
he's beat it at practice.
In practice,
we
the
have
highest
to,
I've got is about 297.
Oh wow.
So we have to, have to get him there. He'll get there.
Right.
So he talked about that, he likes teaching the elementary schools a little bit, kids a little bit, because they like to give each other, a little bit of, back and forth. And do you all do that to one another? And not only that, is it a gentleman's game and a ladies' game, or is it like you get ready to shoot and somebody else is beside of you, you're like, you're gonna miss?
Hey, those girls over there cut throat. Especially those three Smith girls, because they're sisters. So they've definitely got a sibling rivalry going on.
But in competition, it's not just Moco right beside one another. You're shooting right beside somebody else, correct?
Mhm.
Okay, from another school.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah,
So,
it's
I
usually
mean,
people
every once in a while you might go, "That's a terrible shot." That was awful. Just get them in there, get in their head. Not allowed to do that. Yeah, I like it.
You're not supposed to. And I'm going to say the coach would say something, but if it's a small kid doing it to Curtis, I'm going to say,
Yeah.
give me a hard time. But if it's one of the high school kids in it, but you're not supposed to. It's supposed to be complete concentration at the
I got
line.
you.
You're really not supposed to make noise.
I was going to say it's relatively quiet until you hear the arrow hitting the target.
Yes.
And there's so many people shooting, like you'll think people are done, and then you'll hear more arrows hitting the target. You're like, where the heck is this kid shooting from?
Yeah.
So, crazy. It's one of the craziest athletic events that I've ever been
If
to.
you ever get a chance to see the state competition
Uh-huh.
in Louisville, I mean, what they have 200 targets set up.
Yeah.
So 200 targets is 400 shooters at once.
Yeah.
400 arrows flying. It
So
looks like something on TV.
You say they all go at once. So you said a whistle.
Yeah,
So does everybody shoot at the same time, or do you have, once a whistle goes off, you got like a certain amount of seconds, or?
There's whistle commands.
Okay.
3,
Fill us in.
1.
Pull the mic around there for you.
Okay. 1 is pretty much get the bow. 2, shoot, and then 3 is if someone is near the range and will probably be hit.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So to piggyback off what you said, of course, the elementary, there were kids shooting like it would be felt like forever after everybody else was done, and they would have 2 or 3. Is there a time frame that you have to shoot, and how much is that?
2 minutes. I thought is it 2 minutes?
2 minutes.
2 minutes. So you have 2 minutes to get 5 shots off.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So you're up there. You shoot within those 2 minutes. It's not everybody shoots all at once. You just got to get your shots in 2 minutes.
Once you blow the whistle, everybody on that line starts shooting.
I got you.
However, you can take 1 minute for the first shot and 1 minute for the next 4 shots. It
got
don't
you.
matter. It's just 2 minutes.
So if you don't get one of your shots off in the 2 minutes, does it make your round void, or do you just not count the arrows that you get shot?
Honestly, rules say that it's a 0.
Okay.
If we're at a early competition in the year, we may kind of, hey, you took more than your 2 minutes. Let's, do it a little bit faster. If it's a state competition, I'm going to promise you they're going to give them a 0 for the arrow that's not shot.
So do you just stack the arrows on top of each other, right? It's not like shoot and then pull it out and shoot, pull it out, right?
Stack them on top.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought.
And when you get kids that are shooting 5 shots in the bullseye, they're shooting holes in the side of the arrows and throwing them away and getting new ones. It's we go through arrows quite a bit.
Well, so I think we're gonna swap out and let the girls talk for a second. But I want you all to answer this last question. How did you get started in archery, and how long have you been doing it?
I got started by my dad working with Scott, and Scott influenced me to do it. And I started last year, and I started out with my highest score being the 261.
It's pretty good. That's pretty good.
One year I was playing baseball with one of my friends, and his dad was talking to my dad, and his kid was doing it, and he told my dad to take me out there one night, and that's practically how that happened.
Yeah. And what's your best round score?
He's so good, he doesn't even keep score.
Right.
254.
254.
Now you do dual, right? You do 4-H and
high
so
school.
he's one of them.
Okay, so you do 4-H as well.
Yeah.
Curtis?
So my brother shot 4-H and high school archery both. So he shot for quite some time.
Yeah.
And then when my brother started getting into it, my dad became a coach.
Okay.
Well, when I was that age to where I could start shooting, so I started shooting when I was about 9.
Oh, wow.
So I've been shooting for quite a while. And then I started shooting the high school team at 6th grade.
Okay. Gotcha.
And the highest score I've had so far is a 288.
For now, but you're gonna take that record down.
I'm feeling a good 290s coming up.
All right, guys. I think we're gonna swap out. Let the girls talk. They're not gonna get out so easy. You all aren't gonna get asked all the questions. Now, Coach, while they're switching out, what kind of collegiate money is there in is there any money to go to school in archery?
There is some scholarships available. There is not. They do not shoot Genesis bows in college. However, they do transition to Olympic recurves at that point, and that's what some of the other kids right now, they'll do school archery and they'll shoot JOAD, which is Junior Olympic, and they usually shoot. They always shoot. Is it only Olympic recurves in JOAD?
You can shoot anybody you want to in JOAD.
But colleges lean towards that. But we have had 1 or 2 kids that has got some type of scholarship. It was before I started coaching.
Okay.
I do know that Jay, the one boy that holds the boys record, did get an offer. I think he went a different route. He went to a school that didn't offer archery. But there is scholarships available.
So that was going to be my follow-up. Does every college have an archer, or is it just a major college? Is it just like, does Moorhead have an archery team?
Moorhead does not.
Okay.
They have a rifle team.
Okay.
Is it Cumberland's has Cumberland's has a archery team. So there's 2 or 3 of them in the state that have them.
Similar to bass fishing. Not every school has the program. Okay.
But it is there and it is available, for them to do that. All right, girls, what do you got to say?
Wes, hit them with the hard questions.
So, what do you all? I mean, we heard what the guys said, but what do you all like about archery? What do you like about archery? Why did you get started in it?
Now, not all of you at once.
Now, right. There's only, 8,000 people watching. I'm just kidding. There's probably only
Come on, girls.
10 or
It's not
12.
that hard. You're supposed to say because the coaches are so awesome.
Because Coach Allen rocks.
Yep.
So the Smith girls' dad is actually one of the assistant coaches as well. Curtis's dad's an assistant coach, and Chad Jones, which couldn't make it tonight, is the other assistant. So how did you get started, girls? Come on. I know how you got started, Hailey.
I started from my mom working with Scott.
Mhm.
And I've been wanting to do a sport for a long time, and archery was one that got brought up from everything. So that's kind of how I got started, was from my mom and Scott.
Awesome.
So, all right. So, how hard is it to pull the bow to pull that string back?
It's not that bad.
No.
No, it's not as bad as people think
No?
it is.
Max weight is what?
20.
20.
So, all right. Do you all use just fingers or trigger?
3 fingers.
Just 3 fingers.
Yeah.
So you're not. There's
Wes,
not
he clearly said you can't have anything extra. Just
I
strap
didn't know. Well,
on your
I just didn't know if it came with
They
it.
can use a glove like the elementary school kids that, have a little bit harder. Their fingers are a little bit softer.
Right.
They can use a glove. We hate them as a coach because that just gives the string something to hang up on.
I got you. I got
but
you.
No, it's just.
I didn't know if they came with a trigger on it to where you were able to pull it back with that and then just
Not-
click the trigger.
not
So
mass.
it's very natural.
Yep.
Gotcha. And did you all have to get used to that? Usually, I mean, I could see where that would,
Hurt.
yeah. Exactly.
It hurts for a while, but you'll kind of get used to it after doing it for a long time.
Gotcha. So what's been your all's most favorite tournament that you've been in this year so far?
There's so many I don't remember.
How many have you done this year so far?
Was it 4? It's probably more than 4.
Four.
And then, of course, the one last weekend got in Harrison County got canceled because of the weather.
Because of the weather.
We're committed to doing 10 tournaments this year.
Gotcha. And then you all get to shoot at home this weekend, correct?
Yes.
We'll be there. I'll be there.
We
You'll
have,
be-
Yeah, I'll
we
be there.
have got 26 teams coming. When you say team, if it's a homeschool team, it may be 1 or 2 kids.
Yep.
If it's Harrison County, they're bringing 70 kids with their
Oh my
with
gosh.
their middle and high school on, and whatever the element. I mean, Harrison they're nuts with archery. One of the top, usually the top one in our region. But we got 26 teams, 414 kids signed up to shoot
Wow.
on Saturday. So we're going from 8 o'clock
Mhm.
to 7:30.
Well, I know that when they were talking to Bourbon, that it was going to be like 14 hours of shooting or something.
And you're shooting in both the arena and the barn, correct?
No, just the arena.
Okay.
So the barn's used as like a staging area to give. I mean, you've got a lot of kids there
Yeah,
at once to give them room. Everybody's got bow cases, and coaches have arrows and all their stuff. So that gives everybody a place to kind of stretch out, and we'll call them in. Each round's usually about an hour. We'll call them in an hour at a time.
Gotcha.
So
So are you all looking forward to that?
Yeah.
Being at home,
I'm
shooting in front of your friends, shooting in front of the family and stuff like
Yeah.
that? So who's the best one?
If y'all had a shoot off right now,
Right.
who would score the highest? Well, I'm talking about the girls.
Just the
Curtis,
girls.
that's you. You don't get to jump in on this.
Probably one of the Haleys.
I don't know. I think me and Hailey are both right there, just about equally. We
Yeah.
both
Yeah.
we aim the same point pretty much.
We shoot together at practice all the
Yeah.
time, and we're like right there.
I
with
thought
each
you
other.
said they were cutthroat. They're like, no.
no,
They're both
these
good.
three
I
are
was gonna say-
cutthroat. They're sisters, all right. So I don't know if you have any siblings or not, but these three, we gotta watch them. But these two shoot together. One of them will beat the other at one competition, and the next time it's flip flop, and it's the same way at practice. But
That's not a bad thing. I mean, it's just good, healthy competition. You're like, crap, she beat me again. I'm gonna have to beat her this next time.
Yeah, we definitely keep each other on our toes.
Good.
So for a young kid, that 4th, 5th grader that is interested in archery, what would you all suggest would be a good way for them to get into that?
Just come, just show up.
Try
Whenever,
it out.
Try it out.
try it out. Yeah. Just give it a try.
Give it a shot.
So
I mean, it's not for everyone.
Good pun.
give it a shot.
Some people might like it.
Yeah. So coach, like if you have that 4th, 5th grader, can they come out and shoot with the high school team just to kind of get the experience?
the best avenue for that to happen right now until we get elementary schools involved, and really all you have to have for that is people to do it.
Right.
I mean, obviously, the high school coaches can't do both because most counties have a middle school coach and a high school coach. Right now, we got them combined, and that's why our team's so big. We do it together. So, 4-H right now, when it starts up, we start them a little bit earlier. But they could do that then. I'm going to keep pushing for elementary schools. I'd be more than happy to help out, to get started and get all of them going. And, it's teach a little bit more of it during the school hours, which I'm not a teacher. I've got a 9 to 5 before I start coaching. So, but that's the thing. I mean, and if a parent really thinks their kid's going to get involved, if they'll buy that Genesis bow, Matthews has the monopoly on it. You have to have that bow, but if they buy it, they can shoot it as a 5th grader.
Yeah.
And they'll have the same bow all the way up. So it's not like something they're going to outgrow. They have to use that bow. So if they start and it's something they're going to stick with, the investment's going to last them for, 7 or 8 years.
So does bow wear out? You said buy one. If they want to take the investment and buy that bow, can they use that bow to their 12th grade and senior, and then they graduate, or does a bow wear out? Do you have to replace a lot of things? And
everything's replaceable.
Gotcha.
So yes, the bows are kind of pricey. They're around $200. You can't use it for anything else. It's only a 20-pound bow. You can't hunt with it.
Right.
But I mean, if you want to be a target shooter, it's a good place to start. I mean, we have kids that, I tell the ones that's starting off to get a used bow. You have a lot of kids that start and say, "Man, I hate this." And their parents have bought the equipment. There's a bow that's only been shot, 2 weeks sitting there. So you go that route. But, all the bearings and stuff that's in the cams, that's all replaceable. We have all that, so if something happens during a competition, I can replace it. A lot of times the rest break that the arrows rest on. So we keep all that in, do a little surgery while the competition's going and get them back going. It may throw their aim off a little bit, but they can recover from that. They may just have to aim a little bit, different. That's what that practice round's for at the beginning of each distance.
So you talked about the competition this weekend, 26 teams, I think you said.
Mm-hmm.
Who are some of those teams that are coming in?
Harrison County, Bourbon County is going to be. There's a Christian school in Bourbon County. Fleming County is going to bring a team. Elementary schools from Cynthiana. I mean, it's still Harrison County, but just all over. We got some coming from Moorhead. 2 Christian academies in Moorhead's coming. Round County signed up. They had to drop. Bath County is going to be there. Clark County is going to be there. Pretty much everybody's got it, but you tend to cluster together at the competitions, almost like regional, but not. Of course, we don't want to travel all the way to Paducah to shoot. We tend to stay in our area until state, of course. But, just pretty much any county around us that's got it, unless they go to a different competition. And that's one thing that kind of gets difficult when you're trying to plan when you're going to have it, is making sure that, us in Harrison County is not doing it on the same weekend.
Right. So when is regional tournaments? When does postseason start?
It's usually and it changes from year to year, but it's usually March.
Okay.
So we actually compete in 2 different leagues.
Okay.
So we've got NASP, which is all the way from 5th grade up. We don't have 5th grade. We start at 6th grade. Mm-hmm. We take a few 6th graders, but technically it's 7th through 12th for us. And then we do, of course, KHSAA. And at that point, if I got a good middle school kid, We've got some of them here that have been doing really good. If they outshoot a high school kid, hey, we want to win. You know, we're competitive. We're going to take the best kids from both the middle school and high school team, combine them, and that's our KHSAA team, which we only get to take 12 girls, 12 boys out of 40. The regionals, and then we've never made it to state as a team in KHSAA. The only one here that's made it, Curtis has made it as an individual. So the way these work, you go as a team and you go as an individual. So if you're shooting up in 280s, 290s, chances are you're one of the better ones in the region. So they'll take a team plus the 2 top teams plus the 3 top males, 3 top females that's not on a team. Yeah. To each one. So
that's my son runs cross country, and that's similar to what they do in cross country. You know, they have a team that wins in region, and then they'll take I think 2 teams go, and then they'll take the top 5 runners that aren't affiliated with those 2 teams. So it's something very similar. So at the state level, what kind of score typically wins this? I mean, is it a 300?
There has been 300 shot at state, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's usually around 298.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, you'll get that kid that shoots a 300. But I mean, hey, I'll take a 298 all day.
Right. So what happens if there's 2 shooters that are tied at the same score? Is there like a sudden death shoot off?
Coin flip.
I've only seen that happen once in a competition. So what they do, they take the most 10s.
Okay.
So you can score the same, but you may shoot 3 10s and the next person may shoot 2 10s and a bunch of 9s. So they go by how many 10s you got, and then they'll go by how many 9s you got. Curtis shot this year, and I guess they shot the same holes in the target. I don't know, but they were actually going to have to do a shoot off.
Yeah.
And that's the only time I've seen that happen.
I think they ought to do it like dizzy bat style. If there's a tie, you get a bat and you go around in circles like 7 times, and then you have to shoot the arrow, and whoever gets closest.
Hey, we're just happy if we don't hit the floor in the arena.
Right, I'm sure.
So has anybody beat Coach one-on-one?
I think me and Hailey both did.
I would probably tell you every one of these kids sitting here is going to be the coach if we shot right now. Chad, on the other hand, if they shoot against Chad, might be a little bit different. But
so is that one of those things y'all smack talking the coaches, and Chad's like, all right, well, I'm gonna have to dust off the bow. Let's line up.
Yeah. I seen that last year, and he pulled out a 50 at 10 meters. He put all 5 in the bullseye, so it kind of quietened them down a little bit. Right. It may have been me and him smack talking one another. I said I was going to outshoot him, and I got like a 48 or something.
And you were pretty happy with it, like 48. That's good.
I'm happy. I hit the target every time.
Well, I mean, super interesting. I'm glad we had you all on. We will definitely, if everything works out, we definitely try to get you all back on. After a regional, maybe going into state or something like that. Whoever makes it to the state, hopefully you all will shoot really well at regional and go as a team.
We stand our best chance this year, probably. We've got some really good kids. If we can get to where we're not fluctuating we'll shoot a high score one competition, and then the same kid will shoot just a little bit lower, and we need that high score. If everybody's on one given competition, we'll go.
Yeah. And all it is about this weekend is beat Clark, right?
No, we want to beat Harrison.
No,
when it comes to archery,
it's Harrison.
And Harrison County's the ones to beat. Yeah.
Got you.
Well, so this is a challenge for all of you all. If you break the school record, in my mind, that automatically will make you the Kim Soft Athlete of the Week. So, Curtis, you go out and do it this weekend. You'll be the Kim Soft Athlete of the Week.
If you do it, I'll shave my head.
No, you shave his head.
Yeah.
With an arrow.
I don't know about that.
All right, guys. Well, guys, there you have it for this week's edition of the Community Trust Bank Coaches Corner presented by the From Corner to Corner podcast. If you haven't already, go out and give us a like on Facebook and subscribe on YouTube. Remember to help us promote our Coaches Corner, our KimSoft Athletes of the Week program, our Menifee County Brett Wehunt's Kentucky Farm Bureau Athletes of the Month program. We do what we do for our community and the surrounding communities, our teams, our coaches, and our students.
In our
They all
community.
deserve it.
Go
We'll catch you guys next week.
Stay safe, friends.
The Moco Four Horsemen would like to thank you for listening to From Corner to Corner. Be sure to go out and follow us on Twitter, on TikTok, on Facebook, Instagram, and even YouTube. Whatever podcast platform that you listen to us on, be sure to go out and give us a 5-star review. Thanks as always, and we look forward to seeing you next week.